Hello everybody, this is Mithril Zenith, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about Vestaria Saga. Now, I'm talking about this today, I'm not starting a full Let's Play, I'm still in the middle of the game of a personal playthrough right now, but I think this game is so interesting. Now, mechanically, let's start from the top. This is a game, I believe, developed by creator Shozo Kaga. Is there a way to see the credits? No, there's not. But yeah, the initial creator of Fire Emblem, the initial director, went on to create Vestaria Saga, the other Saga games, Ring Saga, and Vestaria Saga. Now this is made, I believe, in SRPG Maker. It's unlike modern Fire Emblem, definitely has some flaws around the surface. It lacks that level of polish, is what I'd say. Some animations aren't fully finished. It's really easy to skip things. Transitions aren't necessarily there when multiple people are talking. It just kind of lists them in our seemingly random order. It has some flaws around it. Also, pressing escape immediately exits the game without a prompt, so be very careful with that. But what I wanted to talk about that's interesting is that while it's still core mechanically Fire Emblem in terms of hit points, stats, skills are very similar, the idea behind a lot of how the maps are set up is incredibly different to what you normally find in Fire Emblem. It's like, okay, you have a little bit of this in like Thracia or in certain elements of Genealogy of the Holy War, but it's not something you've really gotten ever since Kaga left, and it's not something you really got from the main, like the first three games. It's only really in 4 and 5 that you got something similar, and I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm just going to load a save from a previous level, so don't mind what's happening. Let's just talk mechanics. Okay, so right now I have all of my units around this little castle. We have this random unit here who can nullify attacks and just is incredibly powerful. The idea is, okay, so we're having, it's a desert map, so where do I start with here? Yeah, it's a desert map. A number of things have been happening. First of all, you can save every 5 turns. This is just a mid-save. It's one of the only saves I had access to. You start down here. There's some units over here. They're really heavily armored and armed, and they're just going to run straight to the right and then straight up, so you need to defeat them. Mages are the best way to do that, because it's also a desert, so mages can walk freely, mages and thieves, and flying units, and then your cavalry is incredibly impeded. You come up to this village over here, and that spawns this wagon, which travels slowly across the map to the exit point. You have these dragons up here, which as soon as you get into their range, they attack. What do you know? The dragon also moves into their range. This is a bonus objective, it's not required. You have all these treasure chests up here, and you have this thing that you need a specific unit to go to by turn 10, which is the last turn, which is this turn. You have this lower path you can go to for this village. We're just kind of sitting here. You have enemies attacking it, he defends it, until you either defeat all the enemies from the first squad, or have one of your units talk to him, in which case he flees. He gets auto-healed every time he gets reduced to 10 or lower hit points, which is really nice. I don't think he can die, but I'm sure that with bad luck he could. But you don't necessarily want him to finish off all the enemies. See, this one has like a throwing axe, which he won't counter because he never leaves. Because as soon as the squad's over, he leaves, and then this squad goes down and attacks. This thing I want to highlight, for instance, I'm just going to skip all the plot. Makes a boss spawn here with a lot of very strong monsters. If you leave the boss alone, he has a necromancy staff, and he just keeps raising more enemies for you to fight. You want to kill him because you then get the ward ring, which is really good for resistance. Yeah. But these things are incredibly difficult to kill. 18 defense, 9 resistance. Basically, 50 hit points. Any damage they deal, they heal back. And yeah, they also buff. They have different stats. They have different effects. But because you start down here, and this happens on turn 10, or slightly earlier, is that you need to respond to something that you don't know is going to happen the first time you play through. This happens a lot in Vestaria Saga. Vestaria Saga is a game built for a second playthrough, or at the very least a game built to... Basically, you'll play through the map once, you'll figure out something, you'll be like, I need to do that instead. Restart the map, play it with that different idea in mind. It's very much a game that asks you to go back, or asks you to know information ahead of time. There are a ton of secrets in this game that involve a specific unit going to a specific place. Like there was one in a previous chapter where you could send a particular unit, this one, to a shrine. And then you get asked like 6 different questions. If you answer all 5 or 6 correctly, you can promote into Dragon Knight. If you don't, then you can get a promotion item that'll just promote her into a regular Raptor Knight. But you can also send a different unit there if you talk to them with different things, and then that unit can either promote into one of 4 different things, or you can get an extra promotion item for a different unit class. Of course, there's also some caveats to that as well, because that other unit's promotion doesn't reset their level, which means if they're already almost level 20, they don't really get too much out of it, and then you're wasting a lot of experience. It's complicated. There's a lot of cool... Basically, what I'm trying to say, and I don't really know how to say it, is that there are a lot of cool ideas going into Vestaria Saga, but so much of it is just... Aha, I tricked you. You didn't know that ahead of time. You didn't know that opening this chest would activate this thing in the middle of the map, and it's a desert, so good luck getting to it. Also, these rocks do block your progress, and even flying units get slowed by flying over them. It's really cruel, is what it is. It's not, like, unkind, I guess, inherently. It's not, impossible to figure out. But it's a cruel design by asking you basically, hey, a lot of stuff is interactable on the map, figure it out. I think it's cool, but I think it's cool but cruel, I guess, like I said, is the way that I said that. Because it's interesting, it's fun, it's clever, but it's very much... It feels like the designer's having the fun, if that makes any sense. Because it feels like it's something that the designer's having fun, but the player's not necessarily having the fun, because the player has to then redo the whole map and play it a different way in order to do things right. Or you need to kind of play with a guide which is telling you some of these things. Also, the game does a lot of stuff like give unique portraits and names to a lot of various enemies to confuse you into thinking maybe there's a way to recruit them or not. Most of the time there's not. There's actually no way to recruit most of them. But the game kind of tries to make you think that there might be. It doesn't fall into the Fire Emblem trope of, oh, they have a unique name. So 99 times out of 100, they're going to be the recruitable one. Unique name, portrait, and everything. This game also has a love affair with multiple attacks. I mean, just look at this thing. 4 times strike. You get 4 attacks in a row with that weapon. Where is it? 5 times strike. You get 5 attacks in a row with this weapon. If I had the unit out, which I would switch over, but I can't reload from inside the game. I'd have to quit and then come back in. There's a character who has an ability... Actually, I will do that just because I want to show you the insanity. If I have a save for it. One moment. I think I have a save. Please tell me that this will reappear. Yes, it does. Okay. Yeah, this should be fine. This character, Troy. One of the best units in the game. Just your stock standard, heavy cavalry with everything. So, multi-chance. Allows the unit to sometimes deal 2 consecutive attacks. It's adept, for Fire Emblem's sake. Triple threat. Flat 20% chance of allowing the unit to strike 3 times. Okay. You know, nullifies critical hits and heals as from the rings. But you're giving this unit opportunities upon opportunities to attack multiple times. And then you give them like a cutlass, you know, a weapon that has double attack. It's a pretty cheap, pretty early game weapon. You can buy a lot of these in the game. You have the weapons that give plus defense. You have weapons that give, like, ambush skills. Whoops, I didn't mean to cancel the game. Again, I accidentally pressed escape to back out of the menu, and I closed the entire game. But there's so much variety in things that can happen. I'm going to load from later on in the chapter. Like I said, yeah. This weapon gives resistance, gives a skill. It gives double march. It gives Canto as a skill. What else is stuff? This has effect against Darklings, Dark Flares, and special. What is special? I don't know what special is. All I know is that she does so much damage to thieves, like one-shotting them infinitely. This weapon confers daze 100% and skill First Blood. What does that mean? Well, First Blood is like a vantage that makes you, counterattack every time. Daze, and forcibly ends combat for the turn. So basically, if she gets attacked, she will counterattack at 1 to 2 range at least, and prevent them from actually hitting because it just forces the end of combat. And this is your Dancer unit, or Taskmaster, Motivator, whatever you want to call it. You have this item, just weird numbers, 7 attack, 33 crit, gives First Blood, double strike, bypasses defense, guaranteed double attacks, guaranteed boosted evasion. Like, you can tell what this character was built to do. Like, I think it's so cool. I think this game has a lot of really cool ideas. Ideas that I wish were followed up more in things like Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem, you have some character concepts and then you rarely, if ever, fully commit to them. Three Houses, perfect example. You have like Lysithea, who's built to be the best glass cannon mage ever. Yet because they have to have the freaking unit class, the classroom system, you have to be able to, oh, well, what if we make her a berserker? What if we make her a swordmaster? What then? And it's like, okay, you're allowed to screw the unit over, and you're allowed to not make them work, and you're allowed to also just kind of struggle with suboptimal things because the random level ups, and they don't give units that many unique things. Like, yeah, you get the staff, which she could use for, without penalty, which gives her +2 range, but you can give that staff to anyone. Instead, you get units like a Court, who is the only mage right now who can use Dark Magic, which strikes 3 times. Her unique spell strikes 2 times and is super effective against knights and against heavy armor, and gives her defense, and has high crit. It's like, this game knows how to just make something busted enough that you want to try to use it. Like, his unique bow, like I said, gives him Canto, gives him, amazing attack, good crit, good accuracy, double strike, effective against a lot of things, also gives him extra resistance. This axe again, crazy good axe. You get this unit pretty late on. Like, I just barely recruited her into my main army. That's not a lot of time for a pre-promoted, unpromoted unit to really become useful, you'd think. But you give her a unique skill, Crit Reprisal. You give her Axe Defend. You give an Axe which prevents abilities from being extra defensive, double attacks, has super effective damage, crazy stats, and suddenly it's like, hey, I want to use this unit. Vestaria Saga knows how to make its units interesting by giving them unique items, by giving them unique skills, by giving them purpose. I love the way that it does this because it makes you want to use everyone because everyone is unique, not because anyone's filler, not because anyone's like, oh, well, they just have good stats, so I'm going to use them. It's like, sure, I'll use Troy because he has great stats, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to use a unit like Dune, because I just need a really good archer. He was my savior on this mission. He was able to kill the boss. He was able to kill those dragons because he was able to kill the freaking demons because he's the only one with powerful effective damage thanks to his unique bow. You don't get that in Fire Emblem most of the time, unless they decide, hey, let's give your main lord or something a massively overpowered weapon so they can beat the final boss with it or something. And that is something that I wish Fire Emblem did a little bit more, is make their units more unique. Give them stuff like, hey, here's your late game mage. It's kind of like, Lind, you get halfway through, not even halfway through, but like after the third mark of Fire Emblem 1, and it feels so late that a lot of people don't use her. You basically get a court at the same time frame, but instead of having just like a 20 damage bomb, which I'd say is still unique and is still worth using for Lind, you get double attacking lightning spells. You get the ability to use dark magic here. You get a fantastic unit for the purpose that unit can do. Here's a wonderful example of a unit that you will never see in Fire Emblem because it's so weird. Okay, Fire Emblem 6, and technically 7 as well, we had Merlinus, the Merchant. His whole purpose as a unit was to allow you to access the supply convoy. Other than that, your supply convoy either is inaccessible or is only on the main lord. Here's a second unit that you get. You have the supply convoy on the main lord. Here's a second unit you get that accesses the supply convoy. But more than that, at the start of the turn, for the first 20 turns, he will repair one item by one durability. Give him some unique items, give him some staves, give him something useful. He'll slowly repair it over the course of the mission. The downside is then you don't get to use that item while he's holding it, but you can finagle it, you can make it work. And in addition to that, he's a thief, he has, multi-strike, guaranteed double attacks, good evasion, good terrain, he can lockpick. Fantastic unit concept. Why aren't we seeing more unique stuff like this in Fire Emblem? I don't know. I think the map design is where it rubs me a little bit the wrong way, because the map design also tries to be super fun, super unique, super different. Let's see if I have a save for one of the other maps. Chapter 5 almost made me quit the game. I do not have a save for Chapter 5, but I do have a save for Chapter 4. Okay, yeah, no. This is not what necessarily I want. But yeah, you have dragon down here, you have chests around here, you have to escape over here, some weird stuff with the thieves. Chapter 5 is a massive city where you have to, you have a split army, you have to go through, you have so many different objectives. It took 40 turns to beat that map. And this game is designed with high turn counts in mind. There's no rescue staff, there's no warp staff, there's very limited ways to boost the movement, there's no rescuing of units. I think the rescue is one of the fun, unique things that you can do in a lot of Fire Emblem games, and I wish that it came back because, losing those interactions sucks. But, okay, I guess I don't necessarily have anything crazy. Yeah, I don't really have any saves of any crazy chapters. Because, yeah, there are chapters in this game where you just go around to the different villages, they each ask you to do a specific side task, you do the side task, and they help you out in the final battle on that chapter. There are chapters in this game, I just played a chapter where you have to assault a fort, and you can go around to all the different villages, and they'll say, hey, if you do this, it'll help you out in this way, do this, help out in this way. Destroy 3 things that 3 mini-boss squads are guarding, you'll stop reinforcements from happening. You give some items and an herb here and there, and then you wipe out one of the, the really big ballistas, because the people help rise up against them. You fly out to this castle on the middle of nowhere, it requires a flyer to get there, and you pay off the assassins, so that way the assassins turn coat and leave, and aren't there, to kill you as soon as you open the door. You can poison the lake to kill off a lot of ballisticians, but if you do that, then a recruitable unit dies as well, or doesn't want to join you, either way. But there's a gold card that comes, turn 20, something like that, turn 15 or 20, it shows up and makes its way towards the keep. If you can ambush it and stop it, not only do you get all the gold, but all the mages inside don't get their payment and they leave. You know? It's really cool because it makes this impossible keep and then says, hey, figure out how you can get in. Figure out how to kill the boss. It's amazing. It's incredible. I love this game for what it can do with its map triggers and things. I love what it's tried to do with all of these different unique aspects to it. It turns it from just kind of like, you know, a strategy RPG into a true strategy RPG. Like, tactics and strategy are at the forefront in this game. The problem is, the game does so much that it doesn't tell you about until after the fact. It basically says, oh hey, by the way, you didn't plan this way, you know, across the sands, you didn't place your units perfectly to ambush the boss as soon as the boss spawned on turn 10, you lose. Which sucks. Which really sucks, which then's like, okay, I'm gonna replay the chapter and do it that other way. It's very blind Iron Man unfriendly. It's similar to, like, in Genealogy of the Holy War, where you have all those hidden items, like the Pursuit Ring, like the Brave Axe, all these amazing things that if you don't know they're there, you're never gonna get, because why would you do the things to get them? Why would you put Arden, of all units, out in the middle of the freaking lake, in the middle of nowhere? Why would you put, you know, Lex all the way through the forest on the opposite side of where the enemies are? You wouldn't do that. But you do if you know what you're doing, if you know that specifically you do that to get like an item, or a special boost or an event. And this game feels like it's full of those types of things. I love this game. I hate this game. It's frustrating, it's delightful, it's glorious. I'm gonna finish playing it, I'm gonna enjoy it, I'm gonna have a good time. But I also don't know if I'm ever gonna do a Let's Play on the channel, or if I do, it's gonna be after I've played through the whole thing, after I've learned everything, and it's gonna be a very educational Let's Play, instead of kind of like a blind playthrough or Iron Man or something like that. That's the type of game this is. That's the type of game Vestaria Saga is. If that interests you, definitely check it out. Vestaria Saga Part 2 is either out or is coming out soon. I'm interested to play that once I finish this. I've really enjoyed my time with this now, but it took me a while to get into, because initially it rubbed me the wrong way, and there are still times when I get frustrated at the game because it pulls crap like this. Anyway, I have a couple more chapters to go of this game. I'm going to finish this off. But I hope you found this talk interesting. I love talking about games, I love talking about giving my thoughts and whatnot. If there's other games you want to hear my thoughts about, please leave a like and comment those down below. Till next time, this is Mythos Zenith signing out.